Hello and welcome to Highland Zoo. I'm so excited to be back in Planet Coaster. I really enjoyed the beta, and I've been having a ton of fun um, just messing around since full release. Um, it's been almost a week since the full game came out, and I've been having a ton of fun. So I'd like to first start out and say I really don't know much about zoos. I don't know how to provide better animal welfare other than simply what the game provides us. I have been watching a ton of different YouTube series that talks about animal welfare, so please, any kind of feedback, anything that you see, I would love to take into consideration. So let's first start off and say I have built some things here in the zoo, and this episode is going to just be a review of that. I will mostly just show off of what I've done to keep episodes shorter. I won't do much building on screen, as I'm still trying to learn how to work with editing videos, and you'll see that this is in a pretty raw format. So let's start off. Let's jump right into it. So, this is the entrance. This is actually the second rendition of the entrance. Um, so you can see the typical building. I'm figuring out how to incorporate that a little better, but suggestions are welcome. Um, yeah, so just an entrance plaza, 2 ticket booths. This building looks very boxy, just because of the reference that I took it from. It's more of a very unique architecture with like a curved roof on both sides, but I think it looks really good. Yeah, in Highland Zoo. Um, and then I went and built this cool little pergola. So this is like when you first walk into the zoo, this is like the opening plaza. Has this cool little pergola that I built. And then I just went and took this off one of the blueprints. I'm kind of annoyed that the guests walk through it. One of the path pieces is missing underneath of it, so they don't completely, but it really bugs me. And I don't know. I maybe call me lazy, but I'm not willing. It's not a huge fuss. I don't look at it too much. But yeah, I've kind of went and built off of that. I've gone with this wood limestone concrete look, very industrial, at least in my mind. Let's just say real fast, before I go any further, the peafowls are absolutely, you can see how many I have, and they drive me nuts. And then my flamingos, I also have a ton of them, and I'm working on getting rid of them. But yes, I have a ton of peafowls, and they are obnoxious. I just want that to be noticed. Anyway, so let's go back over here. Um, so you have this Entra Plaza, and you have a reptile house that has 5 exhibits in here. You have an iguana, a green, albino green albino iguana. That's confusing. I can't remember what was in this one. Oh, the Goliath frog. This is the anaconda. This is, I believe, the rattlesnake. And then these are scorpions. So those are my exhibit animals. One thing I do want to, I'll come back out here and get away from the peafowls. One thing that I want to state, this is in North America. That's where this zoo is set in. Northern Rocky Mountains, maybe Idaho, maybe like northern Utah, Washington, Montana, somewhere up in there. Northern Rockies of the United States is where this zoo is set in. It's supposed to be like a refuge for the animals. Although there is like obviously flamingos and peafowl that you wouldn't find in Northern America. And some of the bears. But yeah, so you have a reptile house, and then you have the flamingos and peafowls. These buildings simply are just show buildings, so you have like the viewing platforms underneath on both sides. I wanted to do them differently for both exhibits just to kind of flex that creative muscle on both of them. So they are both different, but you can see this one has no interior, just show. Although this one does have like a gift shop in the corner here. This building is pretty rough, but my guests were complaining about being hungry, so I had to just throw down as quite a few food shops in there. And then this building right here, this one with the rounded roof, or the rounded circle, this is the veterinary hospital for the park. So there's two vet surgery or whatever they are, vet hospitals in here for the staff. But I wanted that to be out in the front as something that's it's just there to show that this is more built on conservation. One thing that I would love your suggestions on is these things back here. So on this side, in this little square here, is going to be like where quarantine is, and that's kind of what I was thinking these pens were going to be. Again, I don't know too much about zoos and kind of how they operate, but I would assume that something like, oh, don't worry about that, that an animal first comes in or an animal gets sick, they would get transported to a pen like this, or an exhibit like this, a habitat like this. Pretty basic. It has food, shelter, and water, and then they can stay in there and be monitored by the vet hospital through these cameras that they can always keep an eye on them. And then over here is going to be quarantine and more of like a inside shelter for the animals. So that's one of the things that's coming up. But I'd love to hear your feedback if this is actually in a thing, or is it like I will never put an animal in these. They're just for show. But again, would love to hear your opinions on that. But let's continue on. So we'll go down this way. So my first themed area is called Bear Down. So the reason I did this is this is like my North American area, but it's all of the bears. So in this exhibit, we'll go like this. Is that guy dead? Yes. Oh. So this is my grizzly bear exhibit. And is that guy stuck? So this is my grizzly bear exhibit. One of the cool things I loved about this exhibit and that I wanted to try was having the shelter in a cave. And so I built this this cave, and there's one entrance here, and then a wall in between for the Himalayan brown bear, and their entrance is over here. So they share a wall in there. That wall is back there. So that is interesting to figure out how to build that. Sorry if I'm moving the camera around too much. I'm trying not to. But yeah, these guys. So the reason I know that the Himalayan brown bear and then the black bear, I can't ever know what the first name of the black bear is, but basically both like I just took the liberties in that they're all bears, and they're kind of over in my Bear Down. So yeah, grizzly bears. So pretty large exhibits. My favorite view of the park. So I do have a viewing area up here for the brown bears. This is, let's see if I can get in here. This right here is probably by far my favorite view of the park. This like canyon. Oh, that is very loud. I'm sorry. But yeah, this like canyon right here. Probably my favorite view of the park, obviously with the waterfall. And maybe let's just pause this. It seems like I got a lot of problems. And then it comes down and goes into like this little vent. But this is the main viewing platform for Bear Down. It's this cabin. Most of the beams in here, all custom built, and then underneath of it is all the staff facilities. I do understand that it is having a negative effect on the guest, but it had to be. I mean, all of the exhibits are accessed underneath of there, so you have an exhibit entrance there, and on the back side, and then on this side. So this is the black bear exhibit. So they their exhibit or their like shelter is in this little thing. Not necessarily the greatest, but I was thinking that these two exhibits were probably the older two exhibits if you want to go with the lore of the zoo, and the other two were kind of newer. But yeah, so you have black bears, and then in this side is the timber wolves. And I know that doesn't meet the bear down, but that's kind of where the liberty of it being the North American uh, themed area. Yeah, and then the other entrance for bear down. So yeah, that's it. That is my zoo so far. Been working on it. This is its second iteration for the main entrance. But I'm liking that a lot more. I feel like that's a lot more zoo, a lot more what I was thinking about for a zoo. So, in the little bit time that I want to remain on this, I kind of want to talk about where am I going from here. So my format that I'm going to do this on, when I was doing the beta, I did a lot of live streams. Um, my channel, I focus on a lot of games like this, but I also do play American Truck Simulator. Um, as of right now, that's kind of the main one that I play that's not a simulation. I did come from Planet Coaster. I've had that game for about 2 years, so pretty used to the building engine and the advanced move tool and kind of that. But still, I feel like I'm in my infancy. Although some of these buildings, I think, are some of the best buildings I built. Especially this one. I feel like this is the most custom building I've ever built. So yeah, I'm proud of that. But so I plan on doing one of these videos a week. Probably most likely on Mondays. I'll do an update video once a week to show you my progress, and I will just go over it and talk about it. I do not plan on having a very big zoo, and that's where what I would like to talk about the remaining portion. So I had a brainstorming session earlier this afternoon, and talked about or thought to myself of and kind of drew a rough map of where I would like to go. So I just barely added these mountains. That was part of my rough map idea. But this is going to be an Asian themed area. Very few animals. I got to bring up the Zoopedia because I was looking at this. But we're gonna have like pandas, and I can't remember. Bengal tigers, I think, was the other one. There was a couple. Like the red panda was another one. So there'll be like 4 animals in my Asian area, and kind of an Asian market is another thing that will be here. A fairly small, be surrounded by mountains, though this mountain will continue over, but the little Asian valley right here. And this area right here is going to be my ape exhibit, or my ape area. And what I plan on doing is I'm going to take a lot of inspiration from the Smithsonian Zoo in Washington, D.C. One of the coolest things I think I've ever seen with an ape enclosure is there in the Washington, D.C. They are, they have like this, there's wires that go over the path that the monkeys can climb from one point of their exhibit to the other, and so I want to do something like that. So I am going to have, let me grab my piece of paper. I wrote the ones that I'm going to have down. So I'm going to have Bonbo, or Bonob, the orangutan, the chimpanzee, and the gorilla are the monkeys that I'm going to have in this exhibit. And then they'll each have their own individual, and then the ropes that will go over the path will be the chimpanzee. And I'm really excited about to build that, and taking obviously a lot of inspiration from that Smithsonian Zoo. So that will be here. Back in the back, to kind of cap off the back, it will be the wetlands. So that will be your crocodiles and alligators and hippos. That's probably all I'll have back there. And then on this side of the zoo, kind of the main theme of the base game here in Planet Zoo is Africa. So I plan on having elephants, giraffes, zebras, the Thompson gazelle, and probably a couple more. I might do lions. I'm not 100% sure. It's not going to be a very big African area, although it will probably be one of the biggest outside of Bear Down. But yeah, so that will be my African area, and then I will have a very small desert area just because I want to place down the camels. I love camels. I love seeing camels. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I would love to hear your comments. Please subscribe if you're interested in kind of following me along in this process. That's one of the reasons I wanted to continue doing YouTube for Planet Zoo, is I want to get your thoughts, because I am, like I said, not a big I'm not a zoo person. I don't know zoos. I go to the zoo, I enjoy the animals, but I don't know the back ends of zoos. Anyway, till next time, have fun and enjoy.